Good morning. It's another Sunday morning, and I thought that I would do another video this morning. And I wanted to talk about something that's really big in the news at the moment, which is conversion therapy. Now, I know it's a really hot potato, this one, and so very contentious, and there'll be lots of comments, and I'll be interested to know what other people think about it. I think there's certainly those that would be in favour of it, but I would say that the majority would be definitely not in favour. I think you probably know from, if you've watched some of my other videos, you will see that I am a professing Christian and have been for about the last 28 years. My background is probably more strict Baptist than charismatic. So it's been a quite strict upbringing and teaching as far as the church is concerned. I think along the way, obviously knowing I was transgender, or knowing I'm transgender and have been all my life, even going through all the church was really, really challenging, from the first time going to being converted, which obviously is a really, really big issue, because for those who profess to be Christian, who know the journey of Christianity in truth, I'm not talking about a lapsadaisical sort of Christianity. I'm talking about something that's really deep rooted, and where one really does believe that there is a God, one who is in control and has been since before the foundation of the earth. And I do truly believe that. I think my faith has definitely been tested along the way, and I would say virtually all of it is because of the battle of being transgender and being a professing Christian as well. And one of my other videos said, the title was, is it an oxymoron? Without doubt, there are those that would say that and they do say that you can't be both, and I think that there's a lot that really do not understand. In fact, many people who don't understand what the reality of being transgender is, and they would say, just stop. That sort of statement is from someone who really does not understand. They think it's maybe like, I don't know, it's difficult to make a comparison, and probably it's a really bad comparison with things like alcohol or drug addiction or whatever, pornography, could be anything, gambling, but being transgender is not an addiction. It's who you are. It's the way that you were born, and I probably said that I'm still formally married, although I am obviously separated. My children cut me off 2.5 years ago when they found out that I was transgender, not forgetting that we were very close as a family. And my wife said to me, do you believe that God would allow you to be transgender? And the fact is, there's a verse in the Bible that says that we're born in sin and clothed in iniquity. And there's not a Christian that walks into a church or professes to be a Christian and conversion who is not a sinner at heart. And anyone that says that they're not is deceived, they're wrong, and they don't understand what biblical teaching really is. I think God allows things into people's lives for whatever reason. And some of those are really big battles, and transgender, without a doubt, is definitely one of those. How can you explain it? I've prayed thousands of times that God would remove it from me, and maybe that's a bit of a paradox really in some respects, because it would be like taking away who I am. But God's chosen to leave this with me. This has been my pathway of life. Even during Christianity, I thought when I made those vows of marriage that forsaking all others, and being transgender probably is one of those that it would be gone. It would be crucified on the altar of marriage, but it wasn't. And I brought the baggage into my marriage, and I still carry that with me. And I think the other vow in marriage is till death do us part. And I think being transgender is definitely that. I think it is till death do us part. I don't think that, I will ever be any different, unless God performs some sort of miracle because he chooses to do so. But I don't believe that he will. And that isn't a lack of faith, as some might say. I think it's just pure reality. And, I'm transitioning, and I have been for just about 2 years or so now, just over actually 2 years and 2 months. I've been on HRT. I'm not full time, but I'm probably 80%. So I'm a long way along this journey for someone who is now over 60. And I'm not going to say exactly how old I am. But I think the one thing I've learned is that the church, in ignorance and misunderstanding, believes that if someone prays enough and if they're talked to enough or talked at enough, that eventually they can be changed. But I really do not believe that is true. It's not the work of man, it's the work of God. And God does hear prayer, but he doesn't answer every prayer. And I don't believe that if he created me the way I am and he's allowed me to be the way I am, that he's going to change me because of the prayers of man or woman or boy and girl or pastors or churches or whatever it might be. And many people in the Christian church have cut me off, which is no surprise, to be honest with you, but I think that they do that in complete and utter ignorance because they don't understand. And there's been times where there have been those who have been really, really close to me as friends, some going back 28 years, who in some respects I brought into the fold of Christianity, and helped them along their spiritual journeys as well. And one in particular comes to mind who, has been a really, really close friend, but isn't now. And I think the fact is that he thought, maybe they both, husband and wife, thought that they could change me in some way. And when I think they found out that they couldn't, that they just gave up, cut me off, and now there's absolutely no contact whatsoever. Which is really, really hard, when you're really close to someone and they've been really, really good friends for a lifetime, to go and do that because of what you are and because they can't change you is really sad, and I can remember one occasion probably about 18 months ago when this particular person literally brought me to the point of a complete breakdown, and so I've said in some of my other videos that I've been down the suicide route. I've done all of that. I've attempted suicide, and I've sat on the threshold of it many, many, many times, as many transgender people do. It's not easy. I think the rate of suicide for transgender people is about 40%. It's probably higher. But that's the reality of it. And all you want really, in truth, is support, friendship and understanding and sympathy for who and what you are. And, this particular person, I think it wasn't conversion therapy in the strictest sense of the word, but I think it was their form of conversion therapy. But it is horrific, and it should be banned, I think where... and it's not just churches, there's groups, there's individuals, I think, who think that they can do the work of God in changing someone from what they are. The way they were born, the way that God created them, and the way that he's allowed them to be is shocking, really. And the destruction that conversion therapy brings upon people's lives, both mentally, spiritually, physically, is just horrific, hideous. It's a hideous thing. And I know the government in the UK at the moment is going through potentially banning conversion therapy, and that I think at this stage they're having consultations. But the truth is that there shouldn't be any consultation, because the people that attempt this conversion therapy, they're not trained, they're not qualified. Legally, it's probably illegal, but they really don't understand the trauma that they put people through. And so many people have committed suicide because of what they've done, because they will deem that the reason why you've not changed is because your faith is too weak. Well, that's just devastating, really. And I've had that myself as well, that, you know, people have said, if you just believe. I've been told I'm demon possessed. So you get the gist of what this is like. I've been watching the series on Netflix called The Bold Type, which is quite interesting. It's funny, it's very graphic, it's quite basic in places, but one I just watched was about conversion therapy, and it was really interesting, because obviously I've been toying over this for about the last week about doing this video about it, and then it came on, I think yesterday I watched it, and it was about a boy who had committed suicide because of conversion therapy. Well, that for me was enough to inspire me to do this morning. But it'd be interesting to know what other people's views are in regards to conversion therapy. As I say, there will be some that will be maybe in favour of it, and there will be some that I hope the majority will be against it. And I hope that those who are in favour of it will understand that it's not right and it shouldn't happen. You can't do God's work. You are man. You are a frail and fragile creature of the dust. You're prone to wander. You can't do it as much as you think that you might, and you must never blame those who are the recipients of your conversion therapy for the failure of it, because you won't take responsibility yourselves. You'll pass it on to those who you try to convert, as you say. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I'd say I'm sure it's contentious, and I'm sure there'll be some interesting comments, and if there's not, great. But I hope that everyone will be supportive of it. But I hope you have a really good day today on this Sunday. I'll be watching my morning and evening service on the internet shortly, and I hope that those who are professing Christians will be blessed this day and walk in spirit and in truth. Take care.